What I look like when I'm sad. Hello and welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. I feel like I don't fit the frame right now. All right, so as you can see, April 10, April 16. So I literally had like a lot of time between Monday and Wednesday. I was just going crazy, Somehow like all of my lessons got canceled on Monday. It's like the first time it ever happened. And then on Tuesday is my day off. And I just like started working like crazy, as you could see from all the videos. Was that really just 2 days? Wow. And then, all right, so tomorrow is tomorrow Wednesday? No, today was Wednesday. So you can see I was working like crazy. It was 3 days. And then I talked to Emily and Natalia tonight. So that was fun. Now, the thing is that when I met Emily and Natalia, it was kind of crazy because, and as you can see, okay, so this is like, what is that, 90 minutes? No, that's an hour. This one's 90 minutes. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And I got Chinese lesson, 4.5, 5, 6. So I got 6 hours with people tomorrow. And then I got 1 hour. And then I got some break here, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 hours on Friday. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hours on Saturday. So it's going to be busy, which means it's going to be a little bit different. It might be a little bit of a challenge to get some of this work done over the next couple of days. But see, so what are we trying to talk about today or right now? Like, this is kind of the debrief. So what happened was, like, I started going, I wouldn't say I'm going crazy, but like, because I'm trying to think about this, about like, how do I interface with GPT? And how do I structure a prompt so that we can get into this, so we can actually accomplish the task. I mean, we haven't even started using input boxes yet. Like, we're literally only using a banner, text boxes, and navigation buttons, and it can't do it. So it means I have to restructure the way I'm thinking about this and be able to try to create a more elegant solution. Now, so, like, when I was talking to Emily, I also sent Emily a link to one of my videos, so she might see this video. She'll be like, what are you talking about me for? So, Emily, okay, so Emily had a lot to say today. And there's some really good things that are happening in her life. And I'm really excited for her. And this happens because everybody gets to have a performance. Not performance. Everyone gets to have a promotion once in a while. And it was her time for a promotion. And she had a nice meeting, a performance review. And I learned that they use OKR methodology. And I don't know how this didn't come up earlier. I mean, maybe it did come up earlier, but I don't know. Like, when I look at her file, like, she's got a lot. Like, we have a lot of content in her file. I don't think we can see the number of pages in this view. Anyway, so when she started talking, and she's like, after like 45 minutes of listening, then what I realized was she needed to output. All right, so there's another word. So if we talk about emotional output, you can call this like vomit. Like, when somebody is they got so much emotion on the inside and they gotta let it all out. It's like, so as a manager, as a coach, as a whatever role you play, as parents, as friends, as people, sometimes there's people that really need to share their feelings about emotional matters. And the difficult part of that is just like being able to recognize that the person trusts you enough to be able to share with you what's going on in their life. And then listen. And then the challenge is like, okay, so now how do I work with that? Because I talked to 3 different ladies about this about the situation. One lady, she said, "Yeah, so when this happens, you just listen, and then when they finish talking, then you just like tell them something positive, like, wow, that sounds really interesting, or that sounds really difficult, or wow, you really did a great job with that, or like, wow, you try to use empathy." So what I'm talking about is active listening skills, active listening for purpose, right? So if we talk about active listening and empathy, so we got empathy, mirroring. So I don't even have to mirror most of the time. If somebody is emotionally throwing up, then mirroring, like repeating one of the words that they said in their sentence that you're interested to learn more about. Labeling, like, yeah, sometimes I do labeling. Oh, that sounds hard. Oh, that sounds difficult. Oh, you sound really upset. Like, so this concept is talking, like, it's also connected to children. So remember I had this one student, and like he was talking to me from his home, and he had a small child, and the child was crying, and he just said, "Shut up!" He just like yelled at the kid, "Just shut up, get out of here!" And I said, that's it could be challenging for a child to be able to deal with. And he said, "Yeah, but it's quick, and I just wanted him to be quiet." So, yeah. Those kinds of students are sometimes a challenge. The way that children, I guess one of the techniques is, like, if a child's acting emotional, then you label the emotion. So if they're like screaming, it's like, wow, you're screaming. That's it. Just like tell them what they're doing so they can hear it. Wow, you're screaming. Wow, you're crying. Why are you crying? Oh, and then you label the emotion. Sounds like you're sad. It sounds like that hurts. It sounds like, and then they can start to put words to emotions, and that's how you slowly help them to get from a very high level of emotion slowly down to a more manageable level of emotion. And of course, asking questions. So today, Emily was like practical. She's like, I'm going to share my thoughts about some practical matters. And she started sharing a lot of the details about what's happening at work, some of the changes, some of the things that she's thinking about. And I just listened. Now, okay, so then there's another lady. So there's another lady that she's basically like, when a woman is sharing with you her emotions and feelings, she's asking for support, and she's also asking you to help her to understand and figure out how to solve the problem. And I was like, that's like 0.5% from my experience. Nobody, I don't know, man. Are you sure? And it was a female that was telling me this. Actually, it was here. I mean, it was Natalia that was telling me that. This is her file. So she's the kind of girl that she's like learned. She's very interested in input. I need to input. So what are kinds of things people want to learn? I want to engage in an inspiring conversation. So we started out talking about, like, all right. So I told her like, okay, so basically in this world we have things that come together and things that break apart. That's my. I remember I was listening to this professor talk about string theory, and he's like, our universe was formed either by two universes coming together, or one universe breaking into two. And I was like, been there, done that. All right, so now if we talk about like a factory, so we got inputs, we got processing, and then we got these outputs. Now the outputs is like so the value proposition and the design of the invitation to use the product, so the marketing and sales. What's that noise? And so this lady, she's very interested in talking about like an Instagram channel. Like, how would she set up an Instagram channel talking about project management? And I didn't really know the answer. I mean, I'm like setting up, I'm doing the same thing. And like, we're in the middle of trying to make this project more successful. So we decided to ask our good friend ChatGPT. So the ultimate project management Instagram plan posting, what was the question? What does the ultimate project management Instagram planning and posting framework look like? All right, so we got the content planning. We got things like defining your target market, setting your goals, identifying pillars, developing content calendar. Then we got creating the posts, and then we got audience engagement, and then we got consistency and adaptability. Then we got our growth strategies. So it was like, all right. So how do we model a find out mechanism, which would most acutely enable us to define one potential customer in a way to enable us to then target that customer through Instagram ads, post content, post type, post schedule, and other interactive elements. All right. So this is what we're like. Remember the 2 videos ago? Maybe it was 2. I think it was today, but it wasn't the last one. It's the one before that. And like I had the whiteboard up. So actually, like I showed her the blackboard, and I said, all right, see this thing right here in the middle? That is your first customer. And then the 2 other things, those are 2 other customers that are exactly like your first customer. So you start with organic, and you define very well that your first customer, and then you try to find other customers just like it. Anyway, so they said, okay, well, first you got to define your ideal customer profile. Well, there we go. And then do some marketing research, analyze your competition, leverage Instagram insights, create customer personas, tailor content and ads. Like it just goes on and on, like all the details about what you need to do. And I was like, what are key demographics we need to consider? So I just start with number 1, like usual. So you got to identify develop a clear understanding of your ideal customer by considering factors like demographics. Now, we started I love tables. So, I put the demographics, interests, pain points, goals. Because that's what they said. Just focus on demographics, interests, pain point, goals. So build a table. But the thing is okay, but now demographics. What do you mean by demographics? That's my next question. What are the key demographics we need to consider? Age, gender, location, language, and specifically we're talking about Instagram, right? So because we want to target, so it's key demographics to consider when targeting your audience on Instagram or any other. Okay, so that's an issue. Any other, and actually, it's better, I think, if we could actually get a copy of the Instagram advertising elements so that we can really focus on what we can actually put into that form. So can you supply answers, an example for demonstration purposes of how well you are currently able to use the above key demographic metrics to write a report regarding the type of person most likely to like my post, subscribe to my channel, and leave comments based on the information provided about your Instagram channel. Focus on, because she already defined that she's doing project management for people who have very low level of understanding of project management. So they create this fictional brief. All right. So demographic, 25 to 45, both male and female, primary location, urban areas globally, English speaking, college degree, professions. Okay. So it goes, so that now we have this fictional thing and then a little brief that goes with it. So that was really interesting. And, it just goes to show that basically the same thing from, I was just showing you these concepts of whenever I have somebody that comes into the classroom, it's going to be one of these things, right? So I listen, and they're going to be telling me something practical. They're going to be telling me something emotional until they're satisfied that they were listened to, and that they've been able to say everything they wanted to say. And then Natalia, she just sits there and waits. I'm well, let's talk about something. So what's up? I was what's going on? And then see, after the lesson with Emily, eventually what I came to realize was she's also needs to organize. So she has some desire for to organize with structures. So this is what I do. I want to talk about practical and emotional things within structures of themes and activities. So that's Tom's work, or psychological philosophies. So that's more like Jordan Peterson stuff that I read and listen to. All right. Well, we also have and then maybe, but she may have been or just organizing her thoughts. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts about practical matters and perhaps emotional manners as well. But so here the purpose is to organize those thoughts in the mind. In this one, the desire is just to throw up, and then at the end they just feel good. And this one, they're looking for some organization to move forward with clarity. So you can see this concept of active listening in this active listening in the initial consultation. I call it a value conversation. I love this value conversation. Now, if we jump into Emily, so I also bumped that up. So I actually built this for her originally, and then I brought it over to the other discussion. So, but Emily suddenly tells me she's doing OKR methodology, and I was like, wait a minute. So, look at this. So the thing is, I've spent a lot of time thinking about Tom's work and how do we break that down into remember this, the endeavor, the elements here. Now, Tom has different endeavor elements, as you can remember, but they're also create effects, form agendas, and use potential. Now, be able or be apt or create potential or use potential. So it's similar to this. Now, all right, so where do we start? So some people, it's I don't have a goal, or I don't know what the goal should be. In that case, we're going to learn about the system. Now, but if you do, okay, so all right. Anyways, I'll just go straight to the thing. So eventually we're going to be doing some mind mapping, because we have to do mind mapping before we can really jump into some of these management concepts. And as you can see here, we got OKRs. If you have your OKRs, man, you're already ready to go. So you put your objectives here, and then you put your key results here. And then look, level of effort. We've been talking about this all week. All right. So if we talk about your key result number 1, then let's talk about the levels of effort. Now, I also added this down here. So, okay, so how boring or motivating is this task? So you see that the app that we're trying to create right now, that I had hoped that I would finish today, but obviously not. It's kind of it's a little more challenging. But these are the questions. These are the exact questions from the app, all right here. Very, very simple. This is it. That's the app right there. Boom. Those are the questions. So once you've done the brainstorming and asked all these questions about what, okay, so you're which key results are you most interested in talking about? And if you want, you can use the this week, next week. So, okay, so first thing, let's fill out all of your OKRs, and then what? Then we're going to split those OKRs into what? Into this week, next week, and beyond next week. And so you're putting in your key results here, you're writing down, and then you move them over to here for the ones you want to work on this week. Now, let's say we focus on this week. So then what we do is let's talk about the level of effort for the key result number 2, which we need to focus on this week. All right. So what is boring or motivating about this task? So you see it, it's so easy to connect the OKR methodology right in and plug it in right into this app. So any company that uses OKR methodology, we're ready to go, man. Eventually it would be helpful if I can just have some kind of elegant way to help people to upload their OKRs, profit. What's that website? Profit dot whatever. Fit.io. Because then, with this concept, you can just directly upload my my OKRs